Hello, everyone. Here's another impromptu video. For those of you who follow my stuff very closely, yes, it's going to be another week where there is no new Cranked and Ranked. There has been, like I said in last week's video, there has been technical difficulties due to some severe weather in Eddie Sparks' part of the world that has made the Zoom set up not function as needed. So here I am again, where I'm just like, well, I gotta fucking do something. I'm gonna throw together a video for the peeps out there that just love seeing my stupid face every week. And so this is gonna be kind of like a conversation, really, because this video is me kind of voicing an opinion on how I feel about a specific thing that's kind of been on my mind. And I invite all of you in the comments to let me know how you feel about it. And so recently, I think it's been kind of on my mind because I see a lot of content, and I think a big majority of this is on the TikTok. So if you're not doing TikTok, then maybe you don't see it as much as I do. But it feels like it's been a thing that's been going on for a little while, and that's this idea that if you are paying money to go see a band, they are supposed to play specific songs, the hits, as it were, or whatever. And this kind of idea that a lot of people are just like, oh, they didn't even play this song. And most of the time, these are songs that the band has played hundreds, if not thousands, depending on the band, of times. And so I think about, I hear these things, I see these things, I think about this kind of stuff, and my viewpoint on this has not changed at all since I first started going to concerts in the early 90s ish. And back in the day, it seemed like, the norm was a band would put out a new album, whether it was their second or third or fifth or sixth album, and then there would be a tour that would happen after the release of the album. And during the tour, in the concerts, the band would play a good amount of music from that new album that they are currently promoting. And honestly, this has always been something that I have wanted when I go to shows, because if you put out an album and I like the album, usually my thought is, oh man, I want to hear some of these songs live. And so, that's kind of why I go. And so flash forward 30 years later, there's a thing that's been going on this century, I guess, that wasn't necessarily happening as much back in the 80s and 90s, but it's the idea of the legacy band. Now, there were bands that were had been around for a while that were going on tour and being very successful in the 80s and the 90s. But I feel like it hits closer to home to me now, because some of these quote unquote legacy bands are now bands of my generation, of stuff that I was listening to when I was growing up. And so they play these shows, and then people are like, well, we need to hear this, this, and this, and this, and this song. And you play it at the end of the set, and I'm assuming that's because so everyone will stay for the whole show. And I start looking at set lists of bands. Like really good example, last time I went to go see Anthrax. Anthrax is one of my favorite bands of all time, and not only are they one of my favorite bands of all time, they're a band that still puts out stuff today that I think is really good and I would like to hear live. I went to go see them live 2 separate times. Once, I think they were still on tour for Worship Music, and then the other one, they were on tour after the release of For All Kings. And I think on the first show I saw them out of those 2, they played one song off of Worship Music, and then this last time I saw Anthrax, they played absolutely nothing new. Now, to be fair, it was like an anniversary. They were celebrating the band's anniversary, and so they played a whole lot of old stuff. But I was just like, you're celebrating the anniversary of the band. Why would you not be playing things from all eras and all albums? And it just kind of bummed me out because, like, I love Antisocial, but I've heard it enough. And I think even if it was my first time going to see Anthrax, I wouldn't be mad if they didn't play Antisocial or Got the Time, you know? Same thing goes for Metallica. This last Metallica tour that I went to, where they played the 2 separate dates and played a completely different set list both nights, and it incorporated songs from every one of their albums, and that was fantastic. And they are a band, though, I have to say, that if you go to the tour after they release a new album, they always play a couple songs, at least, from the new album. But when it comes to, like, a lot of those bands, the bands that I've been into for a while or have been around for a while, if I'm paying money to go see your band now, it's going to be because I am still interested in the music that you are putting out now. I don't want to go see a band that hasn't put out an album in 20 years and is still just playing the same set list over and over again, no matter how fucking great of a band they are. So that's a lot of these bands that I love. They still put out records today, and the ones that have remained on the top of my interest list are the ones that are still putting out music that I at least enjoy, and I would like to hear those songs live. I don't need to hear the old songs anymore. Sure, I love hearing them, and throwing some of them in there is really cool, but I really feel like the mentality overall for most people is that if you're paying money to go see a band, you want to hear songs that you already know. And I feel like if you're really a fan of the band, it really shouldn't matter what songs they play, as long as they play a good full set list of, I don't know, especially these days, if you're paying $80 for a concert, give me at least an hour and a half to 2 hour concert. And if they do that and they play well, I don't care what songs they play, because I'm a fan of the band. And so honestly, if I was going to build my own Metallica set list and be like, hey guys, here's what you're going to play on your next tour, Enter Sandman would not be on there, Nothing Else Matters would not be on there, Seek and Destroy would not be on there, For Whom the Bell Tolls. But these are all songs that I love. But I'm like, I've heard them a lot, and I would rather hear songs that maybe have never been played live, or songs that are played a lot less, because that is more fun to me as a fan of these bands. That's what I want to hear. And so that's why this is kind of a conversation, because that's just me. That's just my opinion. That's what I would like when I go to shows. And it seems like the majority of people want the opposite of that. They want to know the songs that are being played. They want the biggest hits to be played. And so the question is, like, how does everybody out there feel? Like, are the actual music fans like me, and they don't really care what they play? They just, they want to hear a good show. And is the large vocal majority people who are just kind of fair weather fans, and they're, or they, they know a song or two and they happen to have some money to throw away to go to a concert, and that's why they're just like, they didn't play Enter Sandman or whatever. Can you imagine, like, if Metallica played a show and they didn't play Enter Sandman? Like, I feel like people would riot, and it wouldn't, that one of them wouldn't be me, because I'm just like, great, they gave me a really fucking great show full of songs, some of which I didn't even expect to hear. And so that I wish that I had enough influence and reach to just go out to all of these different bands. The ones, like, if they're a legacy band and they haven't put out shit in years, I don't have anything to say, and that's not what I'm talking about. But the bands that are still putting the effort in to write songs, record songs, put out an album, tour for the album, I'm just like, even if you're on to the next album, let's not just abandon all the fucking shit that you've done, because there are fans like me that we like all of that stuff. But it really does seem like it's become the norm that most bands just play a certain grouping of songs and maybe interchange like one or two. And because of this, it's made me less excited and willing to go see some bands, especially bands that I've already seen. If I've already seen them within the past handful of years and they come back through and I know that they're just playing the same songs again, it's not worth the money or the time for me to go. I would just love, just come on tour and play all shit from your last 4 or 5 albums. Just fuck all the early shit. Just for one tour. Every band out there that likes is still touring, that that still puts out new music. Let's experiment. Let's do that, and let's call the tour the legit fans tour. And it's like, hey, are you legit one of our fans? Then this show is for you, because we're going to be playing nothing but stuff from our last handful of albums. And that, I don't know, but I could talk about this forever. Is anybody bored of this yet? Because this is the whole point of the video, is really just having a conversation. But I'm kind of having a conversation with myself at this point. But I feel like it's been many years, maybe even since the late 90s, that I would randomly hear people say things like, "Oh, whenever they play a new song, that's when I go to the bathroom." I'm like, well, why the fuck did you go? like why would you not want to hear a new song from a band you paid money to go see? You like them that much, especially in this day and age where concerts are not cheap at all. Why would you even go if you're like, I don't like them enough to hear a song I don't know? And that's a really weird mentality to me. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I feel like in the world of not just in the world of music, in the world in general, I have spent the majority of my life feeling like an outlier. Like if there's a norm, I'm usually nowhere in that norm. Even when it comes to being interested in things that are of the norm or are popular, I even then feel like an outsider because I'm always like, well, yeah, cool, this hit album is really fucking great. Have you heard this weird thing over here? And people are like, why are you listening to that shit? And then this, on the other side of things, the people who listen to the weird shit, they're like, why do you like that popular music? I'm like, I just fucking do. What is the deal with people? That's like, I'm sorry, I'm on a different rant now, but I feel like it's connected. I mean, who else feels that way? Like I've never put any rules on the things I enjoy. And it's not because I'm trying to be unique. It's just like, that's just how it happens, and that's how I feel. So when I say I don't necessarily need to hear the hits, I'm not trying to be a contrarian, because if you play some hits, I'm going to enjoy them because I like your band. But yeah, I really just feel that it's another example of me just feeling out of place in this world. Maybe that's a good way to end this. Anyway, another little impromptu video. And yes, please comment below how you feel about the concert experience. And do you think that the value of your money is equated with songs that you know very well? Or is it equated with you liking the band? Just, however you feel. Because obviously it's your money and it's your time. So your opinion is not wrong. I just, like I said, feel like an outsider in so many respects. So yeah, thanks for watching this impromptu video. Hopefully next week, Cranked and Ranked will be up and running again, and I'll have more videos of my own, more planned and structured videos, and not just me babbling. But do you like the babbling? Should I do more babbling videos like this? I feel like a lot of people babble on the internet, and I don't babble enough, I don't think. So maybe I should. Put that in the comments too. What do you think? All right. Thank you very much for watching this. You're all beautiful people, and I appreciate each and every one of you. All right. I'm out of here, and I will see you all again very soon.